What is going on, everyone? My name is Benjamin Nowak with Monster Bass, and in today's video we're going to talk about the differences in a spinning rod and reel setup versus a bait casting combo, where each is going to shine, the techniques both are going to handle, and how you can use both in your arsenal to be most effective on the water. And we're going to start with the spinning rod because of the two, this is by far the easier technique or easier setup to learn how to use. The reason for that is the way the line comes off the spool and the way that you cast this setup. So if you're just getting into bass fishing, start with the spinning rod and reel. It's going to be easier to use, and you're going to have a lot less headaches when you're starting to get out there on the water. Now, for the sake of this video, I want you to think of the spinning rod and reel as handling lighter baits, lighter line, more finesse applications, and the bait casting setup for heavier line, heavier baits, heavier cover applications, because that's really the differences in the way that I'm using these setups. The spinning rod's going to handle that lighter line a lot better. I'm never going over 20-pound test braid or 12-pound fluorocarbon on my spinning reel. If you go over that, you're going to notice that that line's going to want to jump off your spool. It's going to cause you a lot of issues, as opposed to a bait casting setup where I'm using heavier line. Never less than 10-pound test fluorocarbon and never less than 30-pound test braid. It's going to manage that heavier line a lot more effectively because of the way that it comes off the spool. And you're just going to notice that that's really going to shine with the bait casting setup. So lighter line, heavier line. Now, typically the blanks on the market of the spinning rod are going to handle lighter baits more effectively. The way that the bend of the rod is, the powers that spinning rods are typically built in are just built for lighter bait applications. Typically, I'm using a medium light or a medium power rod, but you can go up to a medium heavy if you're fishing around heavier cover situations. Typically fishing like a light jig, a light Texas rig around light grass. That's really the heaviest that I'm going to go. But where the spinning rod is going to shine is in the sensitivity. The reason that it's so effective with light baits is because of the way that the guides are set up on the rod. They're down-facing guides. What that means is your line is always in contact with the guide. So if a bass bites your bait, it's going to transmit it up the line. Your line's going to be touching your guide, which is going to send it into the rod, and you're going to feel it a lot more effectively. Much more sensitive setup than a bait casting setup. Yes, you'll have a little bit of line contact, but because the guides are facing upwards, that line is not always going to be in contact with the guides, so you're going to lose sensitivity. So more sensitive, better for lighter line, lighter bait situations. Less sensitive, better for heavier cover, heavier applications when you just need to have that horsepower to get the fish out of that cover. Also, the way that the reels are built differently to handle those different techniques, right? Like this is built with a lot bigger gears, bigger drag, meant to horse fish out of cover and pull fish away from heavy cover with big baits, as opposed to a spinning rod and reel setup where you're typically having a lighter, smaller spool, lighter drag system. So when you hook a fish, that fish is going to be able to pull drag and they're going to be able to fight you a lot more effectively. So spinning rod and reel, lighter line, lighter baits, lighter, more finesse applications, bait casting rod, heavier line, heavier baits, heavier cover situations. So this is my basic breakdown of the two setups. You guys decide, what do you want to be fishing? Are you fishing a heavy jig? Are you fishing a big crankbait? If so, I would go with a bait casting setup. Are you fishing a Ned rig, a wacky rig, light Texas rig Senko? Go with the spinning rod. And that's just the basic breakdown. If you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer each of those personally. And if you're not already, please hit subscribe to the Monster Bass channel. It'll let you know when we post more videos just like this one here. As always, thank you guys for watching. Take care. I'll catch you guys next time.